Hi guys, Nick here, coming back at you with another Minecraft video. In this video, I'm going to be showing you how to make a 3x3 sliding piston door, or as I like to call it, a Mandalorian door, because it honestly looks like something from Star Wars. So let's give it a try. As you can see, it's pretty fast, and it makes use of two-way flying machines on Bedrock, which are actually rather difficult to construct. That makes it a quite tall build. However, it's almost tileable. That's how thin it is. So I think it's a pretty good build, so let me show you how to do it. Alright, so for this build, you're going to need some sticky pistons, some regular pistons, some observers, slime blocks, and honey blocks. Any block of your choice, which could be floor block, your actual door block, door frame, anything. Then you want a button, which preferably is stone, any immovable block, redstone of course, and then redstone torches and redstone repeaters. Let's actually get out the torches because we're going to need those first. Okay, so first thing is to place a row of immovable blocks. Now, if you're in survival and worried about resources, these actually don't have to be immovable, but I find it's easier to clean up the build if they are, in case something goes wrong while you're building it and you accidentally trigger one of the flying machines. So I'm just going to do that. And then from here, you can place a row of non-immovable blocks, which is going to be your floor block, and then you want another row of blocks. Okay, so now we want to hook all these sticky pistons up with redstone, and then build two up, remove the bottom block, and place a redstone torch, which should trigger all these three pistons. Now this is actually going to be floor height, so if you're building this on a ground layer, you're going to want to dig down a little bit before following these first steps. But okay, so what we're going to want to do is these have to be immovable blocks. We want to place a row of them in front like this. And this is where our slime and honey is actually going to be touching the floor. So make sure these are immovable. And then you want to place another row of blocks, and this could be your floor block. And this is actually where the door is going to sit. So we can build our door on top of that. And then we want to make a door frame in front of it to hide some of the redstone. And then from there, we want to build in front of it, and this can be our walkway in, and then just make sure to make it nice and wide. Okay, so the next step is to remove that block, and then we want to make almost like a staircase for our redstone, and then perfect. So it should connect up to this torch, and then if we put a button here and we test it, these three pistons should retract. And the purpose of this mechanism is actually to activate these observers, which are going to be starting our two-way flying machines. So let's start working on those. So we want to place a row of pistons, and then we want to place a row of temporary blocks, another row of observers, and then a row of sticky pistons. Now the purpose of these pistons is to actually allow the two-way flying machine to tell whether it's going up or down, because these pistons, when they're extended, they'll act as an immovable block, so they'll prevent backfeed. So then we're going to want to place a row of temporary blocks, followed by, actually, let's make this a little taller. Now this is a bit tricky placement, especially if you're on survival, so bear with me here. So you want to place a row of observers facing downwards, then a row of sticky pistons also facing downwards. And then you're going to want to extend your temporary blocks upward. And then you're going to want to place a row of pistons on top. And actually, I made that one too short. So you're going to want to do that. And then observers facing downwards. All right, so this is the framework for our two-way flying machines, and I actually don't know what happened to that piston, but so this is going to be the framework for our two-way flying machines. I'll give you guys a second to look at it in case you need to catch up. All right, so let's start filling in our slime and honey. Now this is where you have the choice whether or not you want to do it like this with the honey in the middle, or you want to do the honey on the outside, and it honestly just depends on how many resources you have. So personally, I prefer to do honey on the outside because I find that's easier to get. So what you want to do is just fill in the framework of these flying machines, and don't worry if it touches these blocks because these are going to be your door blocks. Okay, so then make sure you fill these in also. All right, so that's our two-way flying machine done, and we actually have the opening sequence done also. So what we're going to want to do in order to catch these flying machines and prevent them from soaring all the way to sky limit is build 5 blocks up from here. 1, 2, 3, 4, 5. And then remove these bottom blocks. And then take a row of immovable blocks, make sure these are immovable, and put them right here. Alright, so now if we test this, press the button, it should pull down these blocks right here and trigger a two-way flying machine, causing the door to open. Perfect. Okay, so now what we need to do is make the closing sequence. Now there's a lot of ways to do this, because basically all you need to do is trigger these observers right here, this top row. But I find the least buggy way to do this on Bedrock, because like I said earlier, Bedrock does not like simultaneous events, is to place a row of sticky pistons like this, facing the observers, and then you want to place a row of blocks and make sure that these are all wired up. Okay? And then if we take out our torch and we trigger these, the pistons should extend. So now what this is going to do is if we put a button here off of this torch, it's going to unpower this torch, which is going to unpower these pistons, which is going to quickly retract to these observers and then shoot them back in place. That's going to cause an update for the observers, and it's going to send our machine downward. So let's test it. Perfect. So that's basically our door complete. Now, I don't know if you guys noticed, but on the example that I showed you earlier, there was actually one last little contraption here that basically when you click this button and open the door, it would wait a certain amount of ticks and then close the door. But you can honestly do whatever you want. You can wire this button down to the other side, so it's a one-way door. You open it and then close it. Or what you can do, oh, a little bit of lag. Or what you can do is hook it up to a T flip-flop, which is actually what we're going to be covering in the next video. But for today, we're just going to stick with a mechanism that automatically returns the flying machine once you open up the door. So what we're going to want to do is place one technically, but a movable block here, and then you're going to want to put some redstone. So what this redstone is for is once these observers go into position, it's going to send power into the slime block, which is going to power these redstone. So that's going to be our detector circuit to see when has the machine stopped. Okay? Now what we're going to want to do is we're going to want to have a chain of repeaters. So just kind of make a loop-de-loop all the way back to your torch. So just put some repeaters. Now, the more repeaters you put, the longer it's going to wait before the door automatically closes. So bear in mind how long, or kind of estimate how long you think people are going to be taking to go through this door. So now what we're going to do first is we're going to actually return the door or the flying machines manually back down to ground position. So our door is closed. Now let's build out our walkway so we can stand. So now if we press this button, our door is going to open, and then we see these repeaters start firing, and then it's going to return our door back down to the ground position. Alright, so that is how you build a sliding 3x3 piston door on Bedrock, the easiest method, no triple piston extenders. Alright, so if you made it this far, I just want to say thank you and have a nice day.